Okay guys, so welcome to today's tutorial. First we're going to start off with my brows. I'm actually going to underline them with concealer first before I actually fill them in. Sometimes I like to do this because it just basically acts as a guide for when I actually fill them in with the pencil or powder or whatever I'm going to be using. It basically just maps out the shape for me and it's a lot easier to fill them in and honestly quicker. I was just using the Juvias Place concealer and yeah, if you have trouble with filling in your brows and you feel like you can't get a good shape, I recommend doing this step first because again, it just acts as like a guide and a map for when you actually go to fill them in. I'm going to be using the Benefit Cosmetics Precisely My Brow today in shade 3.75 and I'm just going to fill my brows in with this. This is a nice shade if you have like hair color like me because it's not too dark and it's also not too warm. It has a little bit of warmth, which I don't mind, a tiny bit of warmth, but I hate when brow pencils are like red or like too warm. So this is like a perfect shade for me. And after I fill that in, I'm going to go in with the Gimme Brow in shade 4, which is nice if you have sparse eyebrows. It just kind of adds some fibers to your hair to make them look a little bit thicker. And then to really lock everything in place, I'm going to be using the 24-hour brow setter. To give me that nice, sharp, elongated shape with the eyeshadow, I'm going to be using these shadow shields. I basically just cut one shadow shield in half and I'm just going to use each half on each side because honestly they're really big and you really don't need to use one for each side, so I like to cut mine in half. I think I got these on Friends Beauty, but you can also use the e.l.f. eye tapes. They work just as fine. If you don't have any of that, you can just use regular Scotch tape. But I'm going to be mixing blank canvas and the original Plouise base together. The blank canvas has a little bit more pigment and it's also a little bit thicker, so I wanted to mix the two together just to create a little bit of a thicker formula than the original Plouise base, if that makes any sense. And then I'm going to start off with a yellow eyeshadow. I'm just really packing that in on the inner corner. I'm really loading the brush up with the shadow and just blending that upwards towards the inner part of my brow. And I use the yellow from the Jaclyn Hill palette, the newest palette. This look is definitely going to take a lot of patience because it requires a lot of blending work. But anyways, I am going in with the Zulu palette by Juvias Place and I'm taking that like bluish green color and I'm just packing that next to the yellow. Don't worry about blending the two colors together and creating a transition just yet. I wanted to just get the pigment on and blend up towards the brow, and then I dip back into the yellow to create the transition in between the two and create that like true green in between the two colors. I did want to mention, instead of doing a ton of little circular motions, I am kind of patting my brush at first just to pack the pigment on and blend up towards the brow, and then I go in with little circular motions. You don't want to just go directly in with big circular motions because then it's going to become really messy. But then I'm just taking a purple from the Jaclyn Hill palette and I'm just packing that next to the green, again just doing the little patting motions and then blending the two colors together. I just kind of take a little bit of each color to create the transition in between the two. And then taking that dark blue from the Norvina Volume 1 palette, I'm just going to focus that on the very outer corner of my eye and create that winged out shape. I'm just taking my time with this color because it is very dark and it's also very pigmented, so I didn't want to go too crazy with it and then regret it. So I'm just kind of adding a little bit at a time, again creating that winged out shape and blending that into the purple, and then to create the transition between the lighter purple and the darker blue, I took a deep purple, the purple from the Zulu palette or any of the darker purples from the Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette would work just fine. I'm just taking off the tape to see the nice winged out shape that gave me, and then I went ahead and did the other eye off of camera, and now I'm taking a looser blending brush, something that's like the bristles are very loosely packed. You don't want anything too dense, and I'm just using each color and just blending up towards the brow to make sure everything is really nicely faded and really nicely blended. So again, you're going to want to use like a very loose blending brush for this part, but also not something too big either. Like this is like a nice brush. It's from Morphe. I'll link it down below. I just can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. Okay, now it's time to cut the crease, and I'm basically just using the same mixture that I used to prime my eyes, so the Blank Canvas by Plouise and the original Plouise base. And I'm just going to cut my crease with this little concealer brush. This brush came from a set from Amazon. I'll link it down below. It's like the perfect little brush for cutting the crease. It's just so easy to use. But yeah, I'm not going to go all the way. I'm going to leave that little space towards the end, and then I'm going to take my finger just to fade the product into the shadows. Now I'm taking this Carli Bybel palette, and I'm going to take that icy highlight shade from it. I don't believe this palette is available anymore, but any type of like icy silvery eyeshadow will do just fine. So yeah, I'm just going to pack that on the inner part of my lid, kind of like right past the middle of my eye, and then I'm going to go in with the blue and just start kind of fading that on the outer corner, and then I'm going to take the purple to blend out the blue. But I'm keeping this very concentrated to the outer corner of my eye. Okay, once I have the blue and the purple on, I'm then going in with some glitter glue. I use the glitter glue by NYX, and I'm patting that all over the cut crease area. And then I'm taking MAC Pigment in Reflex Gold, and I'm applying that on top. But any type of like white gold glitter will do just fine. And then I'm going to create a very dramatic winged liner with the e.l.f. Expert liquid liner. This has a very fine brush tip, so it's really easy to create that nice precise wing. And then I am going to smoke out this wing just a little bit with a little bit of black eyeshadow, just because I like the shape it gives my eyes. Okay, moving on to the lower lash line, I'm just applying a white eyeliner, but you can do a colored liner if you'd like. And then I'm applying the dark blue shadow that we used on the outer corner and connecting that with the wing. And I'm just keeping that towards the outer corner, and then towards the inner corner, I'm going to be applying a purple and just blending the two colors together. And then I'm going in with like a lighter purple pink just to blend out the lower lash line with a pencil brush. And then for the inner corner highlight, I'm going to be using the like pink purple shade from the Carli Bybel palette, the highlight. But if you don't have that palette, you can use any sort of iridescent pink or purple, or you could even use like a shimmery white. It doesn't really matter. Also, if you decide to recreate this look, please tag me on Instagram. I love seeing your recreations. But anyways, yeah, just applying that on the inner corner. And then I decided to add a little hint of yellow on the lower lash line, just a very, very subtle hint of yellow, just because I wanted to tie the look together a little bit better. So I just took a fluffy brush and just applied a little bit of yellow. I went ahead and applied some mascara and some mink lashes, and now for my lips, I'm just applying Luna lip liner. It's the Il Makiage and Carli Bybel collaboration, and then I applied this lip lacquer by e.l.f. in the shade Natural. And that's it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.